welcome to another edition of Property Preservation Training. Today, I will be talking about some basics of how to process a work order. The contractors work for different national companies such as M&M, AssetShield, MCS, etc., who issue work orders to these contractors to complete work on vacant properties owned by banks. Our work as a processor in this cycle is to submit results to the national companies through their vendor portals. Although the portals, which are either web-based software or are installable applications of these national companies, have different interfaces and are different from each other, there is a general pattern to the information they want and the way we submit the results. Basically, we can divide the process of submitting an order in 4 segments, with the first 3 being completed at no specific order, but the 4th being completed always the last. So the 4 segments of, basically whichever order you process, whether it's an order that is from M&M or from another national company like AssetShield, and all of them have different interfaces in their vendor portals, but whichever portal it is on, you can divide the whole process in 4 segments. So the first part would be completing a property condition report, which in short is also called a PCR. Submitting the second section would be like submitting bids to repair damages present in the property, and third would be like uploading and labeling photos of the property, and lastly invoicing for the work completed. So I have this MSI work order opened up, and as you can see, as I said, there's like 4 sections basically. The condition report, the subject property tab, that's also part of the giving the condition report. Then you have to submit the bids, the photographs, and then the invoice. So this page is the condition report, the property condition report, or which in short is also called a PCR. So starting with property condition report, the first section of a work order in any vendor portal, is the PCR. Most PCR will contain a long list of questions pertaining to the condition of the property, a general set of questions which all PCR will have, irrespective of which vendor portal you're working on, are the date at which you visited the property, termed the completion date, which must be the same as the date in the photos. So the completion date and the date in the photos must always match. Questions regarding damages present in the property. Then also called a damage report section, and a general set of other questions regarding the type of property and its current condition. As you can see in the video, I have PCR format opened up. It's for MSI, and if you look from the start, the first set of questions comes about damages, like if there's windows broken, or if there's roof leaks present, or if vandalism or fire damages or anything other occurred. The second section is for winterization, questions regarding whether the property has been winterized. The third section is about mobile home information, if the house is mobile home or not. The fourth section is about debris removal. A set of general questions about bids, whether bids are being submitted. And then there's another set of questions regarding the rooms, like what is the condition of the living room, the walls, panels, floors, if they're good, fair, poor, or are missing, if there's any sections of the wall panels missing or the subfloor. And they're all they are the questions are like differentiated by rooms, like living rooms, dining room, bedroom, bathroom, kitchen utility, and if the appliances, these four appliances are present, or are they missing or not. And as an example, so this is like a MSI PCR, and this I have got here is M&M PCR. So this is like this is a work order that is in MSI. The vendor portal is called MSI, and this is their PCR, and this is called M&M. And as you can see, the interface is different. So, and the questions for the property condition report are different too. But as you can see, just like they had a portion where you had to they asked for damages, there's also a portion here that asked for damages, whether there are roof leaks present. So you also had a question here, roof leak, but this here in M&M it's a bit more detailed. There's a section for security, which you also had here, security, but it's a bit different. It went along with the damage reports, questions regarding the damages. But in M&M it's much more different. Then there's a section for winterization. In MSI there was also a section for winterization, and so there is also for one in M&M. And as you can see, the different sections have different questions. This is about lawn maintenance, whether initial grass cut was done, or whether a bid being needs to be submitted. Appliance section, whether these appliances are present or missing. There was a similar section here also. So see, the full PCR is whether whichever the whichever interface we are working on, whether the questions are almost similar. And then I'll show you one for Five Brothers. So this is for Five Brothers, and this is much more different. They are like for M&M or an MSI, it's one long page with many questions. For Five Brothers, it's a bit like sectioned. You have violations, then securing, winterization, a long list of questions, yard maintenance, debris removal, roof, damages, and appliances, etc. So the whole PCR is in different tabs, that all of which you must complete. And then you have one for MCS, and as you can see, it's a here's just property information, and then there you have damages, winterization, completion info. Again, so this one's very much different from MSI and M&M. And then lastly, you also have this is for safeguard, and again it's a bit like MSI and M&M, with one long page of a lot of questions. But you get the picture. Like a property condition report is generally a report where you have to answer a set of questions regarding damages, appliances, or any work done uh, regarding the property. Next comes submitting bids. Submitting a bid means that we provide a statement to the national company saying that a certain damage or issue is present in the property, and if the contractor is to repair or cure it, they can do it at a certain price, which we provide in the bid. If the bank approves, uh, bid descriptions, which we mostly have in pre-formats, needs to be detailed uh, and must contain the location of the damages or issue present. The amount or so bid descriptions, which we mostly have in pre-formats, needs to be detailed and must contain the location of the damage or issue present, the amount or quantity of the damaged parts, and the cause or of the issue or damage for which it occurred, along with how we will cure it. The prices for which we can cure it is mostly calculated using web-based software such as RepairBase or ExactPRM. So, for example, in Safeguard, uh, here's the bid section, and as you can see, they have line items for bids to be provided. So, if I say, for example, want to provide a bid saying that the gutters are clogged with debris and we need to clean it, I would have to select this section, and I would have to give the linear feet, stating that how many linear feet of gutters might need to be cleaned. Say there's like 120 linear feet of gutters that needs to be cleaned, and the bid amount here, it auto generated, so that's something easy, and there's no real description box that I need to fill out. I just need to provide the pictures. In contrast, if I had to say provide a bid in M&M, I would have to click here on the bid attached section, and a bid box would have popped up, and here I would have to provide bid. Say I want to bid, there's like 1 cubic yard of debris, trash, that needs to be removed from the property. I would have to write it down like bid to remove 1 CYD of exterior debris, $50. So I would have to provide bids writing over here, in contrast to like selecting line items in Safeguard. The photo section, which is the third part, the photo section is where we upload all the photos of the property submitted by the contractor, and label photos to show work done and support what was noted in the PCR and the bids that we submitted. Common photos that are submitted in all work orders are the street sign photo, the property address photo, and pictures of the front, side, and back of the property as proof that the correct property was visited. So as you can see, this is an MSI work order, the same one that I opened over here. So and as you can see, there's lots of photos and all of them need to be labeled. The example here, they're already labeled. So for example, this picture, all these pictures show damages, where the damage is present. All work done photos will also have a set of before photos showing the condition of the property before the work was done, a set of action or during photos showing that the work being done, and a set of after photos showing the condition of after the work has been completed. Um, these must always be clearly and correctly labeled, as they're proof that the particular work that was instructed to be done was completed. So for example, if you saw my previous video on winterization, there were a set of pictures that I showed that was before winterization was done, and there were a set of pictures of during action photos showing that the winterization was being done, and then there was a section of pictures that was the after photos showing the condition after the winterization was done. So that is an example that you can see in my last video on my previous blog. Uh, Lastly, the invoice section is where the invoice for the work that the contractor completed as per instructions are provided. In orders where the contractor did not complete any of the work and only visited the property, either because the contractor so either because the national property asked for the contractor to report the condition of the property, or because work could not be completed for a particular reason, we invoice a trip charge, which is the charge for visiting the property and provide the reasons of why the work was not completed if applicable. So basically, if a work was completed, say winterization was done or grass cut was done, we invoice for that work being completed. If no work was done and the contractor only visited the property, we invoice a trip charge, um, which is basically a charge for visiting the property. Um, so those are the four sections of a work order. And if you see in this in my video, this is an example of an invoice section. Again, the work order is for MSI, and let's say debris was removed, exterior debris. I would have chosen this invoice, then I would have given the completion date. This date must match with the date in the photo. I would have written that removed debris 1 CYD from exterior. I would have chosen the unit of measurement UOM, the quantity 1, and the price for it. In this case, it would be $50. Then I would have clicked on save, and the invoice would be saved. Once all the work is done, there's always a tab that from where you can submit the work order button. So for example, a submit button, if after all the work is completed, after we process the whole work order, we always click the submit button to submit the order. Lastly, like whichever vendor portal we work on, all the aforementioned will mostly hold true when processing a work order. And I say mostly because sometimes they might not be as long as I showed. For example, grass cut orders do not have a very long PCR to be filled out. They sometimes do not even have a PCR that you need to fill out. So the main difference is the interface of the portal, the vendor portal in which a processor is working, and certain rules regarding regarding to pricing and how the order is processed that is specific for the vendor portal or national company to which the results are being submitted to. So those are basically all the small differences between each between from work order to work order. Hope this helps you to better understand how a work order is processed. Till next time.